All right, for more from the Eastern Cape, the ANC Eastern Cape conference, that is, we're joined by our reporter, Abongile Jantjies, who is there for us as well this afternoon, along with Samkela. Very good afternoon to you, Abongile. When we were speaking to Samkela in the last hour, he had mentioned that there was an idea that the president, of course, in his capacity as ANC president, would be arriving anytime soon. And of course, in this hour, we were indeed awaiting his address or his remarks as he closes the conference. Talk to us about what is currently happening there at the conference venue.
Well, Flo, we're outside the conference venue, and I can tell you in any moment from now, in that entrance that you see there, that's the entrance of the ICC, where he's supposed to walk in or to drive in, Flo. Any moment from now, he's expected to endorse the newly elected PEC and officially close the conference, Flo. And it's quite a jovial mood here, and in the Eastern Cape, you'd know that has endorsed President Cyril Ramaphosa for a second term, so he's coming to people who will welcome him with warm hands. They will welcome him with warm hands. Earlier on this afternoon, when Oscar Mabuyane gave us that press briefing, he reiterated that call. But to tell us more about the conference and in its entirety, I'm now joined by NEC member Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. A very good afternoon to you, sir. You were chairing this conference, this 4-day conference. How was it like inside those rooms where the media wasn't invited? How tense was it during your engagements with the province?
Well, it was tough. It was tough because when people engage in a discussion about credentials, they know that credentials affect the final outcome of the conference, and that's why it was so difficult.
And the leadership and all this were now closer to the end of this conference. The president will close it. Have you received any notification that the conference might be contested in a court of law?
Well, I don't know. We haven't received any. But when we prepare for ANC conferences, we are very mindful of the fact that this is a very, very litigious country. ANC conferences have also become very litigious. So when we prepare a conference, we cover all the corners. We make sure that we work by the book. That's why we held so many meetings about credentials, because that is the part that usually is taken to court. So if it goes to court, of course, we'll produce proof about how we have worked and what we have done. And the court will see that we have worked by the book.
What intervention will be brought to the Dr. W. Khubusana region, who's been going in and out of court? They contested this conference on Saturday evening on an urgent basis. So after the conference, going forward, what's the attention like from the NEC in that region?
This issue is very simple. I don't know why people are making it a big issue, but others are using it for other motives. It's a very simple issue. Dr. R.W. Khubusana region, which coincidentally is here where we are, is the host region, was supposed to go for their regional conference in April. Some branches rushed to court, 9 branches actually in total, rushed to court to interdict it on the basis that certain things have not been done. When they arrived in court, 5 branches gave evidence in a way that's not neither here nor there. Then the judge ruled that the conference is interdicted, pending that certain things must be done in line with the constitution of ANC. And what are those things? It is in terms of Appendix 4 of the ANC Constitution, which stated that a province must have a provincial dispute resolution committee, and then there must be a national dispute resolution committee. If you have got any query about how a branch ran and all that, you rush to those structures, the provincial one first. If you are not satisfied, you go to the national. That's what the judge meant. And then it's then that you could rush to court. So the courts these days are saying, no, please use those mechanisms first and exhaust them Once they are exhausted, you can come to court. So the judgment was simply saying, go back, go and do this mechanism. If we have done them, come back to court, then the interdict will come to an end, you'll go into a conference. Now the return date for that interdict was last week. The judge then extended to the 31st of May, which means what? That the regional conference interdict is still valid, right? Now, on Saturday when there was a new court case, the same lawyers who got that interdict were asking the judge, please extend that interdict to the provincial conference. And that's the one the judge kicked out. He said, no, this has got nothing to do with the provincial conference, which means then branches can come to the provincial conference, but a regional conference cannot be held. Remember, a provincial conference is a conference of branches, not of regions. So whether you have finalized your regional conference or not, it doesn't matter. You go as a branch to a provincial conference, which is what happened. Now, part of the argument here why credentials were not being accepted, adopted as quick as it was supposed to have been, was that there were people who believed that the Robusana branches must now be excluded. And not even only the 9, that the whole region must not happen because they were interdicted. And I was telling them, the interdict was about holding a regional conference. It had nothing to do with the provincial conference.
So this conference saw a number of delays, even on Sunday. Sunday was nearly wasted in pushing the conference from going forward. In your experience, was this the toughest conference you've ever had to oversee?
Well, there are tougher conferences than this. It was difficult, but I wouldn't say it's the toughest. And I would say Sunday we wasted a lot of time. I think we spent a lot of time doing the correct things, even though it was tedious, maybe you could say so, because we had to satisfy, as I said, all the corners and all the angles, so that nobody can come and say, look, this conference was unconstitutional, this and that was not done, this and that was not satisfied, and all that. So we had to cover all the corners, make sure that the National Dispute Resolution Committee actually came to be here, which is quite unusual, so that if they dispute, they deal with it here and there. And they were here, they also gave their report, and we made sure that by the time we go in and give credentials, every corner has been covered. When somebody say I'm not satisfied, we go back to satisfy them. And that's why it took so long for the credentials to be adopted.
Going forward, what's the next step now politically when it comes to the conferences of provinces? Which province will you be deployed to oversee these things, such as this?
No, I'm here. I was not deployed for the conference. Every member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC has got a province where they are deployed. We call them deployees, and they've got a convener. So I'm the convener of deployees here in the Eastern Cape long before the conference, meaning any political activity of ANC that happens here, I must come and oversee it. And it's only for Eastern Cape, but sometimes they reinforce deployees with members of the NEC. So if another conference is in another province, if I go there, I'll just be reinforcing the deployees in that particular province.
Doc, I thank you so much for your time. Has the president landed in East London? Can you give us that reassurance?
I think he'll land in the next 20 minutes or so.
I thank you so much for your time. Well, Flo, there you have it. In the next 20 minutes, as according to Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, that the president will be landing here in East London, and we shall bring you more then, Flo.
All right, Abongile Jantjies, many thanks to you. Chatting there with Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, who was overseeing, or part of the team overseeing the conference there.